was about 4 or 5 years old and my parents had just separated. My mum was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had my own room, but I preferred to sleep in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our 2 bedrooms were at the end of the hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the ground floor, and I remember that it was in the middle of summer, and my mum had the window open in her room, which was directly behind the bed. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and I remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the door frame of my mum's room. The door was open and you could partially see into my bedroom. This was strange because our cat was typically always in the bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mum to wake her up. In the 3 or 4 seconds it took me to wake her up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked back up at the door frame, and there was a man standing by the door, just making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out of the screen window. She quickly followed and were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led them to believe the man must have exited that way. The strange thing was that my mum swore up and down that she had locked the door that night with a deadbolt and chain lock. About a week later she was cleaning the kitchen and opened the water closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep. My dad's when I was 10 and I didn't know anyone in the area except for my family my dad was friends with. Single mum with 3 kids. Luckily there was a girl a couple years older than me, 12 at the time when I met her, and we got to know each other a little bit over the couple of years. But we weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mum was at work. Which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother was helping this lady at work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob was hanging out with my friend, they got a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just their mum and answered without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mum. It was the sister of the lady who the mum was helping. She figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mum's work schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know the details and I'm glad I don't. My younger friend's brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas. Decapitated her, left her body naked in the bathtub, hit her head. They had to work through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I was allowed to go to the funeral. I was sitting in my room after getting out of work, up on the 2nd floor. My little brother was downstairs watching TV. The dog was in the hallway outside my door sleeping. All of a sudden the dog starts making all kinds of racket, jumping around, barking, clacking nails, howling. You know how it is. I go to get up to see what I hear. I hear, "Oh, that's a good girl," in a male voice. It didn't sound like my little brother, so I go, "Oh, you're home early," thinking it was my dad. Friend or roommate, as I open the door. As soon as I'm out there, there's no one. No one at all. Just a dog wagging her tail, staring at an empty end of the hallway. My little brother comes upstairs and he yells at me for getting a dog all riled up. Said he heard the same voice thinking it was me or our roommate. We did it once over the house with my butterfly knife and his BB gun, and there was nobody. Still gives me the spooks to this day. A few years ago, I was home alone at night. I was watching TV in the living room when I heard the doorbell ring. Whenever I hear the doorbell ring, especially when I'm home alone, I am cautious to answer it. I walk up to the peephole without turning on the porch light, so they obviously don't know that I'm home. And I look through. It's really dark, but I can see a small figure. More like a black blob, I don't know. It's definite shape, and I had to be around 3 or 4 feet. Doing almost like a little dancing motion. Dipping down and oscillating his arms outwards. Think of a person moving their arms like wings gracefully. It was dark outside, but the figure was more opaque, so I couldn't see what was going on. After a few seconds, I stopped and looked through the peephole, because it was starting to get freaky to look at. I regained some courage and looked back through. Whatever it was gone. To this day, I still don't know what it was, and I still get freaked out thinking about it.